All right, welcome back. So, today's episode, we will take a deep dive into the dark corners of politics, power, persuasion, the places where influence start to look a little too much like devotion. In this series, we've been exploring political cults, systems that might not have been matching robes or secret compounds, but still carry the psychological DNA as the most notorious cults in history. Let's recap what defines a cult. So, a cult is built around a charismatic leader who demands loyalty above logic, and they control information, reward obedience, punish dissent. They create fear, isolation, framing the outside world as an enemy, and perhaps the most importantly, they wrap all of this in a story, a myth that justifies the power of just one person, or for this instance, just one party. So today we're talking about the framework halfway across the world to Cambodia, and where one man, and his name is Hun Sen, and that's Hunsen, Hun Sen, ruled for nearly decades. Wow, I almost said decades. Cool.
Decades.
Four decades under the Cambodian People's Party, also known as the CPP. So his story isn't just about political longevity. It's about how government can shape a nation's entire information system, rewrite its history, turn a leader into something resembling like a living monument. And from defection during the Khmer Rouge era to staging a coup in 1997 to grooming his own son as a successor, Hun Sen's rule tells us what happens when democracy becomes a dynasty. So pour a drink and take a deep breath. Join us as we trace the timeline of a political cult, Cambodia's Hun Sen, and the Cambodian People's Party. So going on to the origins, like the general information of what's up.
Should we do a trigger warning?
Yes, definitely. Good point. So we won't have to record this after again.
Yeah, okay. So for a trigger warning, because we definitely need one for this, I think that it's a good rule of thumb that if you're listening or you're watching our show, our web series, you should be warned that things will probably upset you. We're not, probably never, I would imagine, going to dive into any family friendly topics.
No.
Probably not. So specifically for this one, for our Hun Sen Cambodian episode, we have a trigger warning for you. It contains hate speech and inciting violence, political violence, including death, racism, homophobia, transphobia, sexist remarks, human rights violation, including mass casualties.
Absolutely. And so going into more about the origins and about how this party started. So I'm going to be talking about different parties. Like they have a ton of different parties. And I tried my hardest to look at all these, and I was just drowning in the rabbit hole. So I had to
Yeah.
just cut it off. And I'm trying. I'm gonna butcher some words. I'm gonna jump around, but I'm trying to give you guys a clear picture about what we're talking about right now. So the Cambodian People's Party was founded June 28th, 1951. So it was originally the name Kampuchea People's Revolutionary Party. And Kampuchea is I don't know if it's a town or a province, possibly, but I believe it is the main area where they are from.
Right. His family, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's what I read
So,
too. Mhm.
yeah, and so the Kampuchea People's Revolutionary Party is a Cambodian communist party that became the ruling party after the fall of the Khmer Rouge in 1979. The party abandoned its communist ideology in 1991, and it was renamed the Cambodian People's Party then. And so it continues to dominate the Cambodian politics today. But let me give you a backstory on what the Khmer Rouge is. And so the Khmer Rouge was a brutal, radical communist movement, and it ruled Cambodia from 1975 to 1979. And under the leadership of someone named Pol, and that's Pol, and then Pot, Pot. I know I'm mispronouncing these names.
No, it's Pol Pot.
Pol
I
Pot,
know that
yeah,
from a Dead
okay.
Kennedy song, Holiday in Cambodia.
Oh, yes. I was like, whenever I was researching the other week, I was like, Cambodian. I had that in my head. Yeah, definitely. So that's what I was thinking. So during its 4-year reign, the regime was responsible for the Cambodian genocide. And I mean,
Which
we
which
we were both,
we're going
yeah.
to get, sorry to cut you off, I didn't mean to do
No,
that.
you're good. No,
But
you're
I
good.
know that we have plans at some point. We will be
Hmm.
going over that specific period, Khmer Rouge
Yeah,
in Cambodia from 1975 to 1979,
yeah,
because it as we know, it deserves its own respectable
absolutely,
episode. We're
absolutely.
just it's in the what would you do we say it was in the Crimes Against Humanities,
Crimes Against Humanity section, and
and we haven't
yeah,
gotten to
well,
that yet, so
goodness, I
it's
mean,
sad.
like, it feels wrong just touching over that and just be like, "Oh, yeah, by the way,
No, and
almost
that's
2
why I
million
wanted to bring
Cambodians
it up
died."
and say, yeah, that's
Yeah,
why I wanted to say, like, bring it up and go, guys, we're not just saying like the Khmer Rouge, no big deal. Like, we're saying just hold that. We will be back
yeah,
about the Khmer Rouge in a future episode.
yeah, absolutely. We're gonna focus on the man that is
It came
in
off of it.
charge of this, yeah, that came off of this. And so we will be going over this horrific event at a later date because it really deserves its own
Yeah.
episode. And
I
it's,
mean, without getting too much into it, it was
yeah,
responsible for nearly 25% of the people of Cambodia dying at their hands. They killed off 25% of the Cambodian population in 4 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing, okay, and so maybe like from what you read on this, like from what I from what I read is like they were trying to eliminate these people to try to make the land more prosperous.
Yes. But from what I understood, it was very much these people were the reason that we were in these economic struggles. And if we just kill them, we'll be good again. And even I think they believed the land would be more fertile for them.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I know.
okay,
I had a hard time, like,
we'll get into
I
that
mean,
later. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So the Cambodian genocide is a horrific period of starvation, forced labor, mass executions, and resulted in the deaths of an estimated 1.7 to 2 million Cambodians. And so the Khmer Rouge sought to create a classless, self-sufficient agrarian, and agrarian is a society and a community where the agriculture is the primary means of substance. Um,
So that's
yeah,
probably where I read about the land, right? Okay.
yeah, and
Sorry.
so economic activity leading to more complex social structures and larger populations and the development of early civilizations. So that is what agrarian society means. And so that is kind of what they were wanting to go for. So forcibly evacuating city populations, relocating them to work on rural collectives, and this is like a year zero policy. I say year zero in quotations. And so the policy was meant to erase modern and foreign influences from the nation. And so they were kind of trying to dial things back and just make it more like, less modern, I guess. And so very, strange. So the regime targeted intellectuals, professionals, anyone with connections to former government, Western countries. In some cases, people were executed for just like wearing glasses, speaking another language. And these traits were associated with the educated elite, supposedly.
And this is still during the Cambodian massacre. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Khmer Rouge. And so I wanted to give a good, like, kind of
Yeah.
backstory on where, like, this person, like, and one thing I'm also, like, really curious about, maybe you found out, like, because I know some countries, like, you have to serve regardless. Like, it's not,
I did not
so
find
I'm
that out for him
curious.
specifically.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping that it was that because I know that later he defected and joined the Vietnam Resistance Party, and
Yeah.
so yeah. So I'm just not sure if he joined it on his own volition or if it was
I I've got some of those
forced.
notes. I've got some of that.
Yeah.
I'll get
And
into it.
so the Khmer Rouge abolished money, private property, religion, family relationships were severely attacked and children being separated from their parents and indoctrinated to serve the state. The regime enforced policies with intense paranoia, cruelty, systematic violence. Anyone suspected of being an enemy of the revolution would be sent to prisons and tortured and executed. Mass graves from this period became known as the killing fields, and it's just a horrific time.
Mhm.
And so the Khmer Rouge began as a small communist insurgency, and then this was really, really interesting whenever I found out kind of like how it almost ties back into US history as well with the Vietnam War. And people were
Uh-huh.
actually like joining the Khmer Rouge because like of what was happening in Vietnam with the US.
Oh,
And
okay.
I wish I would have wrote down a little bit more about that. But like I said, I went from like one thing to another thing to another thing. I was just bouncing around. And whenever we go into that, we'll go into a lot more as
Sure,
far as like the history.
sure.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the US bombing campaigns in Cambodia during the Vietnam War contributed to the radicalization of rural Cambodians, driving them to join the Khmer Rouge. Uh, the fall of the Khmer Rouge was in 1979, so it was toppled by a Vietnamese invasion. And I know that Vietnam did take over Cambodia. I'm trying to write down, I don't know if I wrote down the dates for that, but following the invasion, the true scale of the genocide was revealed to the world. And after years of war, a UN-backed tribunal established in 2006 to bring surviving Khmer Rouge leaders to justice. I mean, the trauma of all of that, I mean,
Well,
that
yeah.
was just a few years before we were born. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not like it
No,
was hundreds of years ago. This was
no. This is in
in
our this is pretty much in our it's in living memory right now. It's definitely in
yeah.
living memory. People are alive today. My dad, I mean, we talked about it briefly when I told him we
Mhm.
were going looking over Hun Sen. He mentioned, oh, what happened in Cambodia back then. He still remembers it from way,
Yeah.
from the newspapers or wherever he saw it from back in the day.
Yeah.
So it was big news. Like there's some historical moments I think that people that were alive will always remember, and I'm sure the massacre in Cambodia, when those reports came out, I'm sure shocked a lot of people
Absolutely.
from everywhere.
Um, yeah. It's just horrific. So after the overthrow of the Khmer Rouge, Vietnam installed a new government, and that is when the Cambodian People's Party started. And then Hun Sen, after defecting from the Khmer Rouge to Vietnam, he became foreign minister. And 1985, Hun Sen was then appointed prime minister at the age of 33. And he took over after his predecessor died. So in 1993, Cambodia held UN-backed elections. The CPP lost popular vote, refused to relinquish full power. And so this is when coalition kind of like joined together when some different separate parties they basically came together to then join and they were in power. So
Mhm,
that was through 1997. This is when I feel like shit started hitting the fan big time for
mhm.
all of that. I know that the shit hit the fan quite a bit, but this is whenever like Hun Sen
Yeah,
is really starting to like dig his heels in
yeah,
to gain and
and
hold
starting to
on to,
reject a lot too.
yeah,
Yeah.
political power. So Hun Sen led a violent purge, a coup against the co-prime minister and solidifying his power. So from 1998 onward, the CPP repeatedly won elections. And this is mostly because
Mhm.
of him just literally getting rid of
Yeah,
opposing
that's
parties.
yeah, I have that in there too, yeah. I can
Yeah,
go into a little
so
bit more detail about how that happened.
absolutely. So
Mm,
I'm still kind of going over like a general
yeah.
kind of what all
Right.
happened, but it's oh my goodness. So yeah, so he won several elections,
Uh-huh.
and stayed in power that way. And so political stances, I did not write very much about like what they kind of stand for. I know that it's more of a communist leaning
Mhm.
stance. I don't know if it's really tied to religion. I also didn't do a very good job about writing anything down about the way their government works compared to this one. I know that it's a little bit more of like a monarchy, um,
Sure.
you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
compared to more of a democratic
Yeah.
ran states. Let me
Well,
see.
to be honest, it doesn't even really
Hmm.
matter how their system of politics is set up because he has decided to do what he wants to do,
Yeah,
in a lot in
regardless.
at every turn. So even if the politics are or the system is in place to work a certain way, Hun
Yeah.
Sen is working against that system usually, typically.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that that is the general info that I had down for
Okay.
them. Again, that was, very, very basic, but like I feel like if I were to go in any further, we'd just be kind of going back over things.
Okay. So I'm gonna go a little bit history of Hun Sen first, the man.
Hmm.
You did a little bit too. And
Yeah.
so he was born in 1952 in Cambodia, like you said. He did
Hmm.
attend a Buddhist monastery. So that's where he got most of his education was at a Buddhist monastery.
It's
And
interesting.
it was in the late 1960s that he joined the Communist Party of Kampuchea, which is I think
Yeah.
what we had talked about. And in 1970, he joined the Khmer Rouge under the regime of Pol Pot, is what I have. So
Yeah.
he joined that in 1970. So
Okay.
he actually fled. He defected in 1977 from
Hmm.
the Khmer Rouge, and he fled to Vietnam at that point. So it was
Hmm.
1977, and he joined the opposition immediately. He returned to Cambodia in 1979 after Vietnam had installed a puppet government and they had put him in as the foreign minister. And he was the
Hmm.
foreign minister from 1979 to 1986, and then again from 1987 to 1990. So he was the foreign minister at the same time for a portion of him being prime minister that first time.
Yeah.
But he actually succeeded Chan Sai a month after his death.
Hmm.
So from what I understand, Chan Sai was the ruler of Cambodia at the time, and then he died, and he was rushed into second place to become the next leader, and
Hmm.
that only took place a month after death. So he was not set up to succeed before. It was definitely after that he was chosen.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. So
Yeah.
somebody was like, "We need to get him in there," you know? So he's been the prime minister until 2023 or
Mm.
2021. I can't
I think it
remember.
was
Oh, no,
2023. Yeah.
23. Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
So he's been the prime minister of Cambodia since 1980,
Mhm.
and uh, all along the way there has been elections. And he has, still refused to step down. He's even put a which I'll get into in a little bit more detail, but he passed a law so that he could dissolve opposing parties. Well, not just him, but anybody the current leading party. Okay,
Yeah.
so now during his earlier time, between 1985 and to the coup in 1997, right?
Mhm.
He was accused of a lot of different things. So during the time from 1985 to 1997, he was accused of torturing political prisoners, extrajudicial killings of opposition figures. So he would basically have people killed that were running against him or that just
Yeah.
opposed or publicly opposed him or his policies.
Mhm.
He also had extrajudicial killings of journalists and trade union leaders, arbitrary arrests of opposition members tried and convicted without proper legal proceedings. So he would have people jailed or he would have people killed that opposed him during those
Yeah.
before the coup. Okay. He also censored the media and controlled the media. He decided what
Mhm.
went out bigly.
I
And
believe his daughter has a media station, right?
yeah, right. Yeah.
And
It's completely
that is
controlled by him and his family.
absolutely, yeah.
Completely. So he also put bans on assembly for fear of protest or opposition.
Mm.
So you could not get together with your pals and hang out on a street corner of groups more than, let's say, a handful, because, you could be arrested for assembly for opposition. So that was going on in the first, his first go. Now, he did play a role in the 1991 Paris peace talks, which did end the Cambodian-Vietnamese War and supported diplomacy until 1993. So he
Wow.
was he was good with keeping things peaceful during this time. But also, you'll find that he always kind of has an allegiance to Vietnam, sometimes even against his own people in Cambodia.
Wow.
Yeah, he has. I found this out a lot towards the end, a lot going back on his career as prime minister. They can tie a
Mm-hmm.
lot of deals that he made as good for Vietnam, but bad for Cambodia. So he was kind of playing against them for off and on for a while. Uh,
Yeah.
so the UN sponsored elections resulted in a Funcinpec. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I looked that up
Funcintec.
as well. I was like, that's a
So they were an opposing party and they won the majority votes. Hun Sen, like Amy said, rejected it. He threatened secession, okay, during that time, or
Mm-hmm.
during it. And he also, I have this here, Hun rejected vote, still holding power. Oh, yeah. And because he still held power over the Cambodian army and police, he threatened to turn violence against the UN members and the FUNCINPEC members. And they essentially conceded to him because of that. He said, I will take over Cambodia. We will secede from the UN and if you don't like it, I have the military and I have the police. And they said, okay, because they believed him. I mean, so not an idle threat, I don't believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the concession was that he had to serve as second prime minister. Okay, which he did until 1998. So for a very short period of time until he took the seat back over. So from 1998, and that was the coup, by the way, if you didn't guess.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
that was the coup that happened in 1997, sorry. And in 1998 to 2023, he remained in power until he gave it off to his son just recently in 2023. His son has taken over as prime minister. So it's definitely no longer like we're going to vote for our leader. It's become a monarchy. I think that they've instilled it at this point
Yeah.
because if his son is taking over, what else is that but that? Okay, so I have some notes. Oh yeah, and he didn't completely step down. Sorry. He became president of the Senate, and he is still the
That's
president of the
right.
Senate to this day. So he still has huge swinging power in politics over in Cambodia.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
following the coup in 1997 and his return to power because he wasn't going to play second fiddle, we know that.
Yeah.
Cambodia did see some economic growth, but it was tied to Hun Sen's relationship to Vietnam and his inability to break from their influence. So that's been noted over and over again in many articles, is that he plays along with Vietnam, even at the detriment at times to the Cambodian people. He has consistently claimed that he controls the army and would turn them against anyone that opposes him, he or his policies. And he also claimed that he would run Cambodia until the age of 74. That was like an early on claim that he said. He was going to run it until he was 74, regardless of election. Right? He truly never meant to step down from power. We got in, the door was shut. Nobody else was allowed in after that. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
he got drunk on it. Maybe he got addicted to the power after the fact. I'm not sure if it was a driving force before, to be honest.
Yeah.
But either way, that power became somewhat addicted to him, I believe, because he
Yeah.
sat there for
Absolutely.
almost 4 decades. Okay, so he has attempted to or rejected most UN-backed proposals or processes, including fair and free elections, obviously, because he's every single person. So during 2013 and 2014, protests popped up all across Cambodia in opposition to Hun Sen and the CPP. This resulted in many injuries and at least 4 reported deaths at the hands of the military or riot police. The UN called the violence against the protesters condemnable and called for Hun Sen to step down. And he didn't. Of course he didn't.
Yeah.
So after the 2014 protests, Hun Sen claimed that if he dies prematurely, Cambodia would spin out of control and the army would give his opposition trouble. His words exactly. In 2017, Hun Sen passed a law, here's the law, granting the ruling party, which is currently the CPP, granting the ruling party the right to dissolve political parties, all opposing political parties. So as soon as a different one is in office, then maybe they won't ever get to be in again. But how is
Yeah.
that ever going to happen?
And I know that the leaders of those other parties, it's not like they just got to go home.
Mm-mm.
Like, they were
I'm getting
fucking
into it.
exiled.
Oh, they
Yeah,
were. Yeah,
yeah,
I've
go
got
for
it.
it. I mean, it's
I
fucking
got it. So, this is, yeah. So he passed a law granting the ruling party the right to dissolve political parties. He had opposing leaders arrested for treason or exiled, and that the military would shoot them on sight should they attempt to return. And was even quoted like on camera telling the military, he was like giving a speech to them. And he said, "You do not need warrants. You can just shoot to kill," to his military about opposing political parties, or political members of opposing political parties that
yeah,
he exiled in the first place. So it's really been, and just think about that. Like they're gone, they're not, they can't come back to their homeland that they were representatives of. They loved their country so much that they decided to go into politics for it. Can't step foot on their homeland, let alone see their families or any of the
yeah.
places that are memorable to them. It's so sad. So in 2020, during the COVID pandemic, Hun Sen downplayed the virus in a big, big way. He refused to evacuate Cambodians in Wuhan, refused to evacuate them, or introduce preventative measures, many citing his loyalty to China for these decisions. So there's another one. He's loyal to China over Cambodians. He also claimed that he would reject Cambodian citizens wearing masks. He did,
Mm,
however, pass an emergency law that gave him permission to restrict movement and assembly again and seize private property for quarantine purposes, which he began abusing and has been criticized for curbing human rights from like all human rights organizations are like this. He abused this to no end. Hun Sen and his government, bad recap, okay? So this is all the bad stuff, right?
yeah.
Corruption, fraud, evicted or threatened eviction of 150,000 citizens for
Mhm.
personal land lease use and gain, deforestation and exploiting natural resources for personal gain, murder of hundreds of political opponents at this point, hundreds,
Yeah.
unwarranted arrests and imprisonment or exile, media control and suppression, manipulation of information and law, family and authoritarian rule, human rights violations against Cambodian citizens. And that's what I have on the guy. He's still up there running things. Now his
Mhm.
son is the prime minister. And I mean, the audacity, right? I
Yeah.
mean, really,
Yeah.
like, what is there to say about this guy? What is there?
Yeah. I mean, if we were to start putting some of these things that we've talked about, like, into the characteristics of, like, cults, one thing that I feel like he has really, really done a lot of compared to others that we've talked about so far
Yeah.
is, like, the isolation and separation, with the
I agree.
control of the media, but
Information
also
control.
information control is a huge. I'm talking like people who talk about him, people who
Yep.
post on Facebook about
Yep.
him, they're fucking gone.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
he's
who
he
knows, guys?
yeah. I
We
mean,
gotta be
like
careful.
it fucking in prison. If if you're on land that he wants to develop, like he's
He
selling
takes it.
land to like other countries
Yeah,
and
he
letting them
is.
fucking build
He's
on
selling
it and
land to Vietnam to use and China to use.
yes. And the
Still in
people,
their
the
pocket.
Cambodians that have it's their property, that's where they live, they're just getting arrested. They're getting dragged out of their fucking homes.
Yep, it's true.
And it's fucking horrific.
150,000, and, like, can we just talk about we went into, and you really went into it a little bit more, the Khmer Rouge and where Cambodia was when he took his seat in power.
Mm-mm.
They were at the most literal desperate time.
Yeah.
Like, they just lost an entire quarter of their population, citizens, were violently massacred. A quarter in 4 years. Like, it wasn't like it
Yeah.
happened over a 20-year war. This was a
Mhm.
4-year, like, flash in a pan period of time. A
Yeah.
quarter of people got taken out. And for him to come in on the backs of that and then immediately start stripping the land away and selling it off to China and selling it to Vietnam and
Yeah.
taking the human rights away from other people and having this kind of paranoid fear of, like, if
Mhm.
people get together, they're against me, so we have to get them out of the country. People that survived that horrific event, and now for what? They got kicked out
Yeah.
anyway. They could have ran and not been subjected to the Cambodian massacre in the first place.
I know. Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Crazy.
Yeah, there's one video that I watched, and YouTube has like so many videos, and it's people that are like, they're doing interviews and people have been like, I thought this was really interesting where it was a rally for him, and one of the like several of the people were like, well, the owner of my factory said I had to come. And so it's not
Right.
like they came because they
No, there
supported
isn't
him.
choice there.
They
No.
forced these
Mhm.
people to go to his rallies
Exactly.
to watch him
Yeah.
and listen to him, and they weren't there to fucking support him. Like, they were
No.
there because their boss said, "Hey, you're going to this rally or you're
Mhm.
fired."
Mhm.
And it's so, so bizarre. Like,
Yeah.
I watched so many interview, like, videos about this, and it's just I mean, there's, like, actual video footage of old women getting ripped out of their homes and
Yeah.
brought to prison
Oh, yeah. I've
because
seen
they
it. I've
won't
seen
just give up their property, their house,
well, some of the
for a
protest
fucking
videos.
casino.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, some of the protest videos with the military, I mean,
they're bad. They're
they're beating you're talking about, like, 90-plus-year-old old women and men, and they're beating
yeah,
them with clubs in the streets for
yeah,
protesting. Not violently, not breaking windows, not setting stuff on fire. They were standing in a group and with their signs yelling,
yeah,
and they were beaten. I saw those. It was horrific. It's horrific.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really do you have I mean, do you have any more grossness to get into, or can
So
we give an uplift, or are we still in the gross period?
I'm gonna go through a couple more here. So
Okay, okay. I just wasn't sure.
one thing that was kind of gross, it just gave me the fucking ick. I mean, I know it's not like the most horrific thing, but this fucker was like naming hospitals and schools and
After himself?
streets, and he's got his own like TV show about his life. Did you read about that at all?
No, but
Yeah,
I could
he's
imagine because of some of the stuff I read.
can you imagine? Like you're like, hey, make a TV show about my life.
Please, someone needs to. Someone
You
needs to.
you
I
can't
am so interested.
I am so grossed out by that for some reason. Like, never would I ever like if
Would
somebody
you
came up to
say
me
you're
like, I
as
want to make
grossed out as that as, like, a giant gold Bitcoin statue of Trump? Like, would you say that
yeah.
that's,
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah.
even kind of? I
Mm-hmm.
think so, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, on this same note, whenever I showed you that picture of what this fucker calls himself,
Mhm.
do you have that written down somewhere? I need
No,
to
I don't.
find it again.
Find it.
Oh, uh, he calls himself like he's got this crazy long title that he calls himself, and I got it right here.
Yeah, yeah.
So he calls him Princely Exalted Supreme Great Commander of Gloriously Victorious Troops. So yeah,
I wanna
that is
do
what
that.
he
I want I
Queen
want a name like that.
Roxanne, ruler of
Of glorious,
the
supreme,
Chihuahuas.
like, everything has to be alpha, omega, everything has to be, like, tippy top, champion of the world, of the
Oh
universe.
yeah. Oh
Like,
my
what?
God. That's so fucking weird. And okay, I don't want to be petty, but I kind of want to be petty.
Be petty. I want you to be petty.
If we have any listeners, like, just go look up what this guy looks like. Just go Google him and
Ribbit.
see what he looks like. Okay, from what we have been talking about, and then go look at him. You're gonna be like, that fucking guy? That
Okay.
fucking yes,
Okay.
that fucking guy. Okay. And
When
I
I
know I'm not the most beautiful. Okay.
but it's not about we're not talking about whether he's attractive or
He
not.
looks like a fucking frog.
He looks
Okay.
like a
He
frog.
looks
Like, how is he getting away with it? Like, who's falling for this guy's like whims? You know what I'm saying? Like, if
I
that little
just
tiny frog man came
yeah.
up to me and was like, "You take your club and beat that old woman with it," I'd just be like, "What? What frog man? Please get out of my face
Yeah,
about it.
no.
Like,
Like
what?
grandpa, go
Go
away.
go
Like
away.
what?
Go
Yeah.
eat a Werther's about it, old man. Like, I don't want you to come at me about that. You know." Go sit down in a park
It's
bench
just
and have a
and
Werther's about it.
yeah, and so
It's a
and he
joke.
went from the being in the Khmer Rouge, okay, and
Mhm,
he was like, "Fuck this, that's awful," and then I'm leaving to turn around
and
and do, like, horrific shit to his own fucking
yeah,
people.
exactly.
I just okay, so
Maybe he's
what
more of an opportunist. Maybe he just jumped on whatever ship
yeah,
looked like it
yeah,
was gonna
I
stay
mean,
afloat.
all we have is what we've researched, and there probably is so much more to this,
Sure, there
really,
is, I
and
guarantee, but a
yeah,
problem with a man like Hun Sen, a man who has so much control over the information of his
yeah.
I mean, we can find
There's
some of it,
also yeah, there's
but
also, like, varying birth information on him as
and
well.
he's changed his name multiple times.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's so much control of that information. We took out what we knew that like is across the board, everyone
Yeah,
agrees that this is true. But because we know he manipulates the information about him, especially about him. So
yeah,
can we can we believe all of it that we read? Maybe not. No, is there some stuff that we even talked about today that could be not true about him?
yeah,
Maybe. That's the thing about
yeah.
somebody having ultimate control over the media and information. You don't really
Mhm.
know. You just gotta go with the best you can, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as, like, the charismatic leader part, I'm just not getting it.
No.
Like, it's there, okay, like, he somehow got the prime minister job, he got into control, okay,
Mhm.
and I'm sure there were people who were like, "Okay, we don't want Vietnam ruling, and now
Sure.
he's ruling. He's somebody from there." They're like, "Okay, that's fine." But eventually, they're probably just like, "Enough of this motherfucker."
Oh, yeah, they're
Honestly.
over him,
Yeah.
and that's the problem whenever you somebody that is authoritarian-minded, if there's no way to check that, and they get themselves in a position like that, and decide to stay, then that's it. Game's
Yeah.
already over, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
aside from overthrowing him, like with, like, a coup of their own, I guess,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to get somebody like that how to dethrone someone like that once they've put themselves in that position.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for the control of information, as we said earlier, the Hun family controls many media outlets. His daughter, Hun Mana, owns TV, radio, newspaper outlets that favor the CPP, and the media is heavily biased and censored, and the opposition media shutdown was heavily pressured. So independent press has been targeted, state propaganda, frequent public spectacles, speeches, media appearances, they're all used to reinforce his image. And again, he has a TV series called A Story About Me, dramatizing his life. So that's all for the control information media dominance part, but for suppression and the dissent of the opposition. So the dissolution of the main opposition party was before the 2018 elections. And so from 2018 on, there was no opposition. It
Yeah.
was just him. And
On a
he's like,
fun
oh, I'm
note,
crazy. I won again.
yeah, so I wrote this, yeah. So I actually wrote this on the side because I just had to. I put Hun Sen continued to allow elections, even though he had dissolved all other political parties. Like, who are you fooling, sir? I mean, who do you
Oh
think
my
you're
god!
fooling? I just thought,
Oh my god! I won again, guys! Isn't that crazy?
can you believe it?
I'm
They
just the
must really
best.
love
I'm
me.
just the princely exalted of the gloriously victorious troops. My god.
It's good. Hmm.
I can't.
I
I
think I'm
just
starting
can't.
to
I
pick up
mean,
the Jimmy Carr laugh. I'm all, ha ha. Okay.
there's so much cringe. There's
Yeah.
so much ick.
Yeah, it is gross.
And
And to a
yeah,
nation that didn't, man, I mean, even if Hun Sen hadn't come through and taken over and kept them kind of where they're at, if they were allowed to rebuild after Pol Pot, right? If they were allowed to do that in some capacity, who knows where Cambodia could be today?
yeah.
They could be a healed nation, at least
Mm-hmm.
somewhat, but
Yeah.
it's like he took that away from them, and that's
Mm-hmm.
just awful. It's awful.
And so that is also going off of like the opposition leaders, activists, journalists, often jailed, exiled, also legally harassed, defamation
Yeah.
lawsuits, incitement charges. And then he also made new laws to revoke citizenship of people convicted of treason targeting alleged critics. So,
Mhm.
yeah, revoking citizenship for people who are born there, they live there, they just had they just cared about their nation that much to speak out on what the hell is going on. He also like rewarded loyalty, punished disloyalty. So people who were in the military, people who were loyal to him, made sure that they got promotions and high status and,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So corruption charges selectively used against party insiders
Mhm.
who are insufficiently loyal. So they'd all be, getting sued and brought to court.
Mhm. And a lot of times not even court, a lot of times straight to jail. Like, he wouldn't even hold
Absolutely.
court
Yeah,
for
he
a
didn't
lot
even
of
give a shit
these.
about that part.
Yeah, no, about due process? Not with this guy. No, no.
Yeah, definitely. And then I think for the last little section, there's persecution narrative, martyrdom, and fear. So Hun Sen often frames critics and opposition as traitors, conspirators. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, there's going to be threat towards challengers. Family members of the opposition as well are threatened.
Mm.
So for the isolation aspect, I think that there's a little bit less evidence of like physical isolation, but it's more like informational isolation.
Yeah.
Like we talked about before, suppressing the opposing views. Absolutely no opposing views that they
Not nope,
just got
mm-mm.
rid of fucking all of
Get
them.
outta here with that nonsense.
Yeah, it's just really awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into the message of hope,
Well,
hopefully.
Amy, is there one?
So,
Do we have hope for Cambodia, for
yeah,
Cambodians? I mean, I tell you what, after this researching this, like, I have a
mhm,
soft spot in my heart for the Cambodian people after this, like
yeah,
bigger than it's ever been, ever,
I know.
for everything
Yeah,
they've gone through. It's horrific what they're dealing and what they're still dealing with is horrific.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
I mean, they've just been through some horrific shit,
mm,
and it's as much as we how do I put this? Like, what we're going through is not as bad, obviously, but it does give me like some fear. Like,
sure,
what do we have to look forward to, possibly? I mean,
sure.
I understand that what we're going through is nothing compared to what's
Right.
happened to them, but it's just like, like when we research all of this stuff and we're going through it, like it's hard not to see
Parallels. Yeah.
similarities. Yeah,
I think so
big time,
too.
especially with this, like, the information, like, and I feel like there in America, there's not a real way for them to, like, isolate all of the media because we have
Sure.
such a huge country,
Yeah.
but they're fucking trying.
Yeah.
Oh, they're fucking
Yeah, they
trying,
are. Yeah,
and
they are. I mean, yeah, they literally are. How can you not see the parallels? When Hun Sen fires people and exiles, gets rid of people that he disagrees with or that disagree with his policies, even. And
yeah.
And we have people like Jimmy Kimmel, Steve Colbert recently, like these are
Yeah.
guys, we're seeing the parallels because there are parallels.
Yeah.
Stop it. We're not talking, stop it. Is it as bad as it is in Cambodia? No. But do you think it started out that way?
Yeah. It started out with, like, somebody
So
that you are trusting to do the best for the
have your best
country.
interest and the
Yeah,
country's best
exactly.
interest. Yeah.
And then they get greedy and they get this ego that is a
Mhm.
massive hole that can never be filled. And they try though, they try to fill it, but
Mhm.
they never will. They never will.
Mhm.
So for Cambodia's story is one of resilience from centuries of empire, decades of war, genocide, political control. The Cambodian people have endured what few nations could had they are still standing.
We're
Even in the
strong.
shadow,
Yeah.
yeah, even in the shadow of one-party rule, you can still see the heartbeat of the people who refuse to be silenced. And young activists building grassroots networks, artists using film and music to tell truths, communities finding ways to preserve culture and faith and dignity. History shows that the power may control institutions, but it can never own the human spirit. And change often comes quietly, one conversation, one act of courage, one generation at a time. And so as Cambodia continues to evolve, we hold on to hope and that the next chapter will belong to its people and not its politics. And the
Yeah.
spirit of Cambodia has always been stronger than any regime that has tried to contain it. And, if there's any of them that would possibly be hearing this, like, we support you, we're on your
We
side.
support you
And
100%.
yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah. So I guess that's it. I guess we're wrapping this up.
mhm,
I do want to mention something about this political cult series in general. Not
mhm,
just specific to Cambodia, but and also if I can, Amy, if I can leak the next episode, if that's okay with you.
absolutely.
Okay, cool. Because I'm gonna
Wrapping
tie
up
it
the
into the
series.
yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah, we're closing out the series. We're gonna do about 4 episodes per series to keep it kind of
mhm.
moving and fresh.
Yeah, jumping around.
Yeah, jumping around. So next or not next week, but our next upload will be the last of our political cult series. But before I tell you who that will be involving, I have a thought on this series that we've done.
Mm,
So without realizing it, I think, because we kind of just we cherry picked a few, right? We are like, let's go with
yeah.
this one, this one, this one, this one sounds good. And even the order in which we recorded these, like, it was
Mhm,
kind of just on a whim. And what I realize is that we did the first one, which is we have to speak from what we know the best, and we're Americans,
mhm.
so we spoke about Donald Trump and his cult of MAGA.
Yeah,
And to me, that is just it was a tell of what it looks like being on the inside before anything goes awry
yeah.
too terribly, like in real time, right? We're living this kind of cult of
Yeah.
MAGA right now. Brazil, when we jumped into that one, it almost seemed like this is what happens when someone takes it too far, but there is a system in place to bat it back. You
Mm,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Now, in Cambodia, this is what happens when somebody takes that power and there is no system in place. They
yeah.
take it, they sit with it, and now we're going on 4 decades with them with that power.
Mhm,
And all of the, everything we talked about in this episode. So, we're ending it on something that I think is probably the most extreme as
yeah.
far as political cults go. Is this is as far as hard as it gets, And we're going to be talking and wrapping up this political cult series talking about the Taliban.
Mm,
So, we're kind of bringing it back full circle because it is something that we as American citizens, we have been at war in the Middle East for as long as I've been alive. And
same.
so we have heard reports of the Taliban. So it's something that we have some kind of like I didn't know anything about what was going on in Brazil, I'm going to be honest. And I didn't know anything about what was going on in Cambodia recently, to be
Same.
honest. So
Yeah,
this was like really new to me, but Taliban I have a little bit more of an idea of what they do or what they're about. But
yeah.
I promise you that you have no idea what the Taliban is about, because I didn't know until now.
I haven't started at
I mean, I
all,
thought I
so
knew.
I'm
Yeah,
yeah,
it's wild.
right? I'm going in pretty much blind. Like
Uh-huh.
I've watched like movies and
Mhm.
TV shows and
Sure.
I'm feeling like because I'm a dumb American, the whole entire Middle East is like I don't know. Okay, I don't
We're
know.
gonna break it
Like
down.
I know that there's countries. I know there's other countries,
Sure.
but as far as like, what countries speak what and what they worship and what like
Right.
you know, I don't even know which country the Taliban is in.
Afghanistan.
So, if that's
Afghanistan.
okay, Afghan. Yeah. I just need to do so much research. Like,
Well, yeah, so we're gonna be talking about the Taliban. That'll be our next episode that we're gonna
mhm.
upload. Amy, do you wanna tell us, when we're uploading that?
So we'll be uploading our episodes on Thursday, and every week afterwards, there's going to be a live Twitch stream. And
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that you guys will join and
Yeah.
just yap with us, even if it's like
It
not
could be
even about this
off-brand.
stuff.
It's
It could be
fine.
anything.
Anything. We just wanna meet ya, see ya.
We're chill. We're
Yeah,
very chill.
we are.
We really love talking to other people, and especially if you have differing views. Yeah, I really hope that you guys will join. And
Yeah, definitely. Next Thursday.
do we want to maybe tease our next series?
Or do we wanna
Maybe.
wait for the last episode to tease it?
Okay, we'll tease our next series on our last episode.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's do
that
that.
sounds about right. Yeah, so you'll have
Okay.
to tune in to figure out what we're
Ooh,
going to
but
be
it's a
going
good
over
one.
next. It is really good. Very fucked up, but it's going to be
Of
good.
course. I'm so excited.
It has to be, right?
It has to be, or else
It
what are we
has to
doing
be.
here? Or else
I
take the
know.
name away. We don't
I
deserve it.
know. We don't deserve it.
Mhm.
So we'll have to turn in our
Okay.
mugs.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget that if you want to keep up to date with all the information and our episodes and Twitch information, everything, you can go to This Just In and it's Graham.
Yep. All right. Thanks so much for joining. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.